Hey guys, welcome to my first drive video on BMW's brand new 128ti. I'm down here at Bury BMW's new showroom in Croydon. This is the new home for Tony Lewis TRL deals. I actually shot a walk around video on one of these at Bury BMW in Heathrow with Tony at the end of last year. So check that out up here if you haven't seen it already. We have a wander around the outside and the inside and basically talk about what the 128ti is all about. But at that time, the car wasn't registered, so I couldn't drive it. That's what today's all about. A quick recap of what this car is. Think of it as a stripped back M135i xDrive. It shares the same B48 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, but instead of putting out just over 300 horsepower, this one produces 265 horsepower. The torque is also down from 450 newton meters to 400, but it weighs about 80 kilos less. And the most significant change, in my opinion, is the fact that this is no longer xDrive, it's a front-wheel drive setup. So kind of similar to Mini's GP3, because that also has the B48, and all three cars share the 8-speed automatic gearbox from Ison. The list price for one of these here in the UK is about £33,500 on the road. That's roughly £4,000 cheaper than the M135i. It comes with a lot of standard equipment, including things like the limited slip diff for the front axle and the unique styling for this TI model. So you can see all the little red accents, etc. This car has notably got the upgraded tyre package, which is actually a no-cost option. So same size 18-inch wheels as the standard car, but they come with performance tyres. And I'll give you a wild guess as to what the performance tyres are. Yes, they're Michelin's, but they're not really like performance. They're PS4s, which are just very good tyres. So I don't really know why they brand them as performance tyres. I think they should all come with those tyres, if I'm being totally honest. So very excited about trying them. And they're non-run flats, but apparently every tyre option for this and the M135i now are non-run flats, which is always good news, unless you get a puncture, of course. Right, let's jump inside and get out of the cold and take it to a decent road and see what this car is all about. Okay, finally behind the wheel of a 128ti. I've been excited about this car. There's not been much online, not many people have driven one. And in fact, I'll be getting my hands on a UK press car in about 4 or 5 weeks time. So I'll be able to do an extensive review on that car and spend a bit more time filming it. Today is really first drive, first impressions. And I'm really grateful for Tony and Bury BMW letting me have the keys to their little demo. This particular car, well, it's got a few options on it. I think it's got the tech pack, it's got the pan roof, which you know I absolutely love, things like heated steering wheel, and other options that we talked about on the outside of the car, which are very important, namely the Michelin tyres. Now, strangely, if you order one of these default, it comes with, I think, the Bridgestone Potenza things, which I'm not a big fan of, especially this time of year. It is currently 3 degrees outside and the roads are damp. The performance tyre is a Michelin PS4, which is a semi-performance tyre, but it's more of an all-rounder. It's a brilliant UK tyre, and on 18-inch wheels, it's about as good as a Michelin tyre gets at the moment, until the PS4S is available sometime later this year, hopefully. Anyway, we're not here to talk about tyres, we're here to talk about this car. But I must stress that I think the tyres make a big difference to this car. And if you've just purchased one of these, or if you're buying a stock car and it has the Bridgestones, don't worry about it, because a set of these in 18s isn't going to be an arm and a leg. So wear out your Bridgestones and put these on further down the track. First bit of this video is going to be talking about what this is like as a car. So driving it normally, using it as a daily, if you like. It doesn't come with adaptive suspension, but the passive setup feels really good. It feels stiff enough to make the car feel sporty, but also plush enough to absorb most of the horrible bumps that we get on a typical UK road. So yeah, I'm really impressed with the ride quality. Definitely better than the ride in my M2 competition, as you would hope, but the car just feels nicely sprung, and the rebound isn't too fast, so you don't get that sort of pogo effect that you do in a lot of BMW M cars these days. Feels really good. Driving position isn't bad. I feel like I'm maybe sitting a little bit high, and I'm in these M Sport seats, which are standard. What this car doesn't have is the fantastic seats that you do get in the M135i, those unique M seats or whatever they call them. They are really, really good, and these aren't up to that level, but they still feel pretty good. They're comfortable enough and they offer a reasonable amount of support. In terms of the unique styling on this TI, well, I really like it. There's lots of red accents on the outside, which look very different on this car compared to the black car that I had the first look at. When you jump inside, there's lots of contrasting red stitching, and in fact there's even a nice little woven TI badge down here on the armrest, which I really like. It doesn't feel too different in here otherwise compared to a normal 1 Series or an M135i. Really nice wheel. Yes, it's a little bit fat, but it's not too bad. And you've got the paddles in the back that obviously operate the 8-speed auto. This car is only available as an auto, just like the M135i. Little bit of a shame that it's not available in a manual, because that would be a little bit more engaging and it would save you some weight and bring the actual overall curb weight of this car right down to a really respectable sort of weight in this day and age. Okay, let's push on a little bit. So we'll put it into sport, which basically gives me a sharper throttle response because there is no adaptive suspension in here. I'm going to push that over into the sports gearbox and pull paddle, which gives me manual. I'm also going to turn the traction control completely off. I want to control the traction in this car because it's front wheel drive, it's quite slippery outside, and there's a diff that should hopefully help me, although I have a feeling it's the same diff that's in the Mini GP3, which can be quite aggressive on the public road. But let's see what this is like. Let's push it down this fantastic bit of road. Got a head-up display in this car as well. I think that comes with the tech pack, which is really cool and handy, especially in a 1 Series. But what I can't see up there, unfortunately, is what gear I'm in. And in terms of the sound, it's not bad. Could be a little bit louder, but apparently, according to Tony, who was helping me with some of the exterior flybys earlier on, he said it sounds really good on the outside. And in fact, once the weather warms up a little bit and you can open your window, you can definitely hear some induction sounds and some turbo spooling up and stuff. So there is some sound there, but just like all modern cars, unfortunately, especially ones coming out of Germany, there are so many rules and regulations, but it doesn't sound too bad. At least I can hear it, I guess. Well, the steering is very direct. The car feels fantastic, really, really does. You can tell it's front wheel drive in this weather very quickly compared to an M135i, and you actually very quickly appreciate what that X-Drive system's doing in the M135i, because although I'm arguably having more fun in this car, the M135i just lays its power down so quick. You do initially feel the front wheels slipping and scrabbling for grip, and then it sends power to the back axle. When you take the grip out of the equation, so once you're sort of above 30-40 miles an hour, does it feel as quick as an M135i? Well, let's change it down into third and floor it at 40 miles an hour, and that's 60 there. It probably doesn't quite have that urgency that the M135i has, but to be fair, I haven't driven an M135 for probably 6 months or so, so it's very hard for me to judge, but definitely doesn't feel slow. It feels very punchy. This has a quoted 0 to 62 figure of 6.1 seconds, I think. That doesn't look or sound particularly fast in this day and age, but again, that's just traction limited. You couldn't get this off the line any quicker. Some of you might have noticed that this car has WRC on the number plates, World Rally Championship, and I was definitely hoping that it would feel like a bit of a rally car. And I have to say, when you really push it, not that you can push it too hard on a public road, but on this brilliant bit of road that's actually a 60-mile-an-hour limit, believe it or not, it feels really good. And the surface is terrible. It does scrabble for grip, top of third, especially when you've got a little bit of steering input in there, but it's really, really impressive and massively good fun. I wouldn't think I could drive this section of road safely any quicker in my M2 competition. So what are my initial impressions from my first drive in the 128ti? Well, it's definitely given me a lot of entertainment. I really like this car. It feels like it's lighter on its feet and a bit more fun than the M135i, yet has ultimately less performance. But that's good for a road car. That's kind of what you want in a road car. You want to be able to have fun at legal speeds, and that's what this car feels like it does. The Mini GP3 is an extreme version of that, but that's almost undrivable in conditions like these and on a public road, whereas this really does seem to fill that gap between the crazy GP3 and the fairly grown up and potentially not quite fun enough M135i X-Drive. This feels to me just like a hot hatch should feel. I wish you could get a manual gearbox, but I really can't complain. It's definitely fast enough. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed my first drive video on BMW's 128ti. Massive thanks to Tony Lewis and the Berry BMW Group for making this happen. Like I said earlier on, I will be getting a press car in about 5 or 6 weeks time, so stay tuned for that. Please leave some comments below and let me know what you want me to cover in that video when I've got the 128ti. I'll do a proper film on that car, obviously weather permitting. Take it easy. Thanks a lot for watching as always. Thanks for the support this year so far. See you at the next one.